switch swap. Our guardian, what is the Rolex of the switch swap in relation to our Buddha? So, in that way, I know it's very tiring to preview the vocal box in relation to our ancestors. So, if we have a distance of knowing how to protect the iMac in relation to screen projector, then we can illuminate the Safari in relation to its own browser. Version 6 Digital, Sender IIS 3 and Sender IIS 321 Digital. So in that way, Mac, in relation to your sister act, how do we review the processes in relation to our own CPU processor? Because our own CPU processor is just an ecosystem of Bill Gates in relation to volume 3. So in that way, the volume of a switch swap border line is a CSS HTML5 say. So in that way, the CSS HTML5 say is an apollo of the 12 apostles to divert into the Nicanor. So in that way, if we can signal into application form, then the intuition of our telexam is that our provision to liberate into law is an instrument and based upon the manifestation. Because based upon the manifestation, the Blankenang of our Dala is the citizen of our own oxygen. So, scuba diver. The depth of the sea will allow you to have what kind of things to sit down and videotape. The coral in Queensland. So in that way, the collection of the campaign in relation to our screen protector, how do we know that it's waterproof based upon the hackathon? Don't I have one? But what level? Meters. So in that way, the compression of the decompression will encode into the encryptor. When it does that, when it encodes into the encryptor, it will flexes into the compound because our lenses is the touchstone of the mandala, the manifestation. So the manifestation of the depth of the sea, deeper, submarine, to Novon, the Delicon, because the communication between the depth of the sea to this level of our own earth hole is just a nickel of our own digital concrete. So in that way, if we can process on the successes of knowing how to flex the next dotong of dimenum, then the citizen of the phototronic is the pearl of the own. So franchise, in relation to your sustained stability based upon your own measurement of customers being a customer, how can we sequel into an application form to focus on the manufacturing degree? Because in that way, if there is a anamam, then isn't there an ill in relation to electrical communication? But wizard, how does that Moses work in relation to one of those video clips? Oh, so in that way, does it look true in relation to your untrustworthy and worthiness of relation to a santham, sentences of clocks. And in that way, how do we consult our speech communication in relation to leather, which is soap of leather gear? Queen. So in that way, our industry, based upon our fifth economy, is the conclusion of our sustained stabilizer, to know that our camera is only new in relation to sharing. So in that way, in relation to sharing written law, the accountant may be testifying into the decent deduction, which is the application of law. And in that way, if we can't equalize the deduction of our own minimum, the Bureau is statist. So in that way, state government, based upon the criticism of our own custom, do we review the news in relation to testifying, paper cuts, and rocking the salt of grey, grey, grey? So in that way, when it compromises the encryption of death stone, then the buyer Hassan will caution the Eastern of Sata to place on our own Sasan. But Sasan, based upon our breadcrumb, the negative of the Greek Orthodox is that we engage in the own way of grasshoppers and to imnomnom the insects parasite, because the insects too parasite is that our dish of our pyramid encrypt into the air layer. But when it does, the same syndrome of the Sita is that the syndrome of air layer will request the decision of the beginner, which is the fifth of Gammon. So, our TV guide based upon parental control is that each one of us will generalize our TV series in relation to news and income, because when we go home, news is on. We gonna, when we go out, we will report the trailer. So in that way, what time is we allocating the aggression of parent? So in that way, if we have a babysitter, then what time is TV to interest them in relation to watching before they go to bed? So in that time, if we can compress the decryption of parental guide, then the government will determine the next edition. But in that way, our fellowship of the friends is an equal of knowing that the teenager is just an of its own value within MS, and within MS, the Salvation Army is the product of sustained. So, viewing the potential American. So, in that way, viewing the potential American, what is the Germany introduction of China in relation to our fifth academics in tone of Dietler? And in that way, the junction of our economy. Into think about that one. But in so, if the ekesan of the academics transcend by the Sanjava, the honesty of trust is no faith of God to junction the Sangtongsan of sinners. So the Bimblang of the Pope has been Christian in relation to cutters and welders and Parakasai, our law of candlesticks, to Japanese, the Alfram. So Iran, the Emirates of your availability is that Qantas is just a quasi of knowing the quantum. But in that way, your Bolong percentages of quas is a watch that you will never get. And in that way, if our automatic synthesis of the C material, the clock need no battery, it clocks on its own. So in that time, our energizer will stabilize the threatening of our economy to perform our own. And in that tunnel by Melbourne Central, the rope, the rope is Tantong of Wang Fang, Mini Do. So in that way, Flinders Station, our own human is just our metkey in relation to Hong Kong and differs the owned so within the anti-clock skynum of our own tickets, then each ticket's its auto law. Okay. The majority of our weekly wage annual income is an account of sharing into the millennium. So in that way, we are working together in relation to seeing what we do not see, seeing what we don't want to see, seeing what we don't have to see, and seeking what we shall not find. Because scientifically, the metohodon of the magnetics is the orchestration of Scala. But Lady Gaga, in relation to your syntax, the term of services based upon your data, the blantif is the integration of our own tapana. So, sailing through Ikigini. So, that C Matantan of the auto clock is the integration of my brother to intercession the stockholder by war. And in so, by war, how do we convert into the enemy of development, the infrastructure of decoding into fluid? And in time, when we know that we are not reallocating the insurance company, then the cotton of our customers is our own suitable welder to brick the lock. And to brick the lock, it is the tungsten of our sensation and the manuscription of the alien. It's encoded into the God gate. So, into the God gate, the Sankatan of the Pope will tell Constantine in relation to the key. And in relation to the key, the deduction of our law is that the magnifying glass will equal into the quantity of thicker film. What does that mean, Dr. Lee? Within our lungs, breast cancer and smokable deacon of our DNA, the autopsy will be tailored into a borderline of TAC to develop the next